Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome along to today's webinar. Um, for the next 25 minutes or so, I'm going to be providing you with a quick overview of the Koha cataloguing module and some of the tools available. If you would like training in a specific area of cataloguing, then do reach out to us and we will talk to you further about that. This is very much just an overview. And just by way of introduction, my name is Fiona Borthwick. I'm Head of Sales and Account Management here at PTFS Europe. So I've got some slides that will just be taking you through some of the main concepts, and I'll be jumping out onto the system as well at times too. If anybody's got any questions, do feel free to pop them in the chat and my colleagues on the call will pick them up. Otherwise, hopefully a few minutes left at the end of the session today. So this is what I'm going to be covering very quickly. I'm going to be talking about the use of templates essentially for using cataloguing. So we call them frameworks in Koha, some more information about them shortly, and the item templates. Going to look at some ways in which you can bring records into the system, different importing tools available and how it can be done with automation. And a very quick look at some of the tools that are available within the cataloguing module as well. What I am not going to be covering today is batch edits, whether it's batch edits of catalogue records or item records. That is in a webinar that's coming next month. So if you're interested in that, do sign up for that. So we will not be touching that today. So let's take it right back to basics. What exactly is a catalogue record? Well, essentially, as library professionals, we tend to think of it as being anything that can be searched from within the catalogue. Most people think of a catalogue record as being, a book, but it's not. It's descriptive metadata and it's more than just bibliographic records. It can be used for anything at all, any objects or maps or, artifacts or anything that you want to be discoverable from within your catalogue. So although Koha is very Mark 21 and RDA compliant, it does adhere to all the standard cataloguing rules. You do not need to be expert cataloguers at all to use the Koha cataloguing module because the nature of its setup with the use of templates and so on allows you to use it for any purpose really. So we do have quite a lot of our customers that use the cataloguing tools to catalogue objects and aside from the actual bibliographic information as well. So let's start by looking at original cataloguing. What do we mean by original cataloguing? Well, simply put, this is the manual input of data. So this is when you would be sitting with your book or whatever in front of you, and you would be looking through it to find all the information that you need to populate that catalogue record. You are inputting that data manually using a form like you see on screen here. And if you prefer, there is an advanced editor, and I'm going to be showing you both of those just briefly in a second. What I will say first of all is the form that you're seeing here is known as a cataloguing framework, and those people in your libraries that have system administration privileges will be able to access and manipulate the configuration behind these frameworks. And this allows you to determine what fields are visible in the editor, whether any of these fields are repeatable, whether any are mandatory and important, for example, and also you can control what label they're given as well. So they're highly configurable. And I should stress as well that there's absolutely no limit to the number of these frameworks that you set up on your system. Some of our customers just make use of one framework for everything, and others have different frameworks for different item types. And the other thing to stress as well is just because you see a field visible in the editor does not mean that you need to fill it out, okay? The framework template as well also covers the item record side of it, which I'll be showing you in a second. So let's jump out into our system here. So here we are adding a mark record, and we can see this framework on screen here. So you can see we've got our little bar of mark tags that sits along the top. when I scroll down, it remains at the top. So if I was looking specifically for a subject heading field and I knew my mark tag number was 650 for that, I could click on there and it takes me directly to that space. Obviously, what you're seeing here is quite a long template. We can see if we have a look at the 245 field that it's got this sort of section for title, and we've exposed subfield A, B, C, and P in this editor. But it may be on your system that you'll only see subfields A and B, or maybe you see a vast amount of subfields. It's all in your control. Just to show another couple of things on this one, we can see that we have got the title field, the 245 subfield A is set to be required, and that's highlighted in red. As you would expect, any required field means you can't save that field without having data in there. So it will prompt you to put something in if you try to save otherwise. Unlike tags that are marked as important, these, again, you get a message on screen saying you have not completed an important field, but that's fine. You can just acknowledge that warning and move on. It doesn't necessarily require you to have data in there. It's just a useful flag. This is where you can see if fields are repeatable or not. You've got the use of these subfields clones, and you can, so if there's more of the information you want to put in, then you can just click on there and you can see it adds in the extra fields here. And what you can also see with a Koha framework is that there's no need for you to enter in subfield punctuation. The way it's split up for you means that you can just simply click in the relevant field according to the subfield there and enter the data yourself. You can do things like tab between the fields as well if you wanted to. And you've got the use of indicators and access to the Mark 21 help files should you wish to use those as well. So as I mentioned, this is quite a lengthy template. If I just toggle into my settings here, you can see all the frameworks that I have set up. Other things you can do as well is if you are not familiar with Mark 21 and you'd rather just use a template with labels rather than have the mark tag numbers appearing, you can switch off the tags and it just is a labeled template then. And also you can take away the link to the help file as well if you wanted to. But I'll just switch them back on for now. The other thing you will notice here is that we've got quite a long list of frameworks set up in our demo system. As I mentioned, that's entirely up to you how many you have configured. But just to give you a couple of other options, if I have a look at, for example, this FastAdd framework, you'll see it's much smaller and far fewer fields to complete in here, but you still have those that are set to be required. So that I can just move on a little bit, I'm just going to put in a quick webinar test, just a quick title in here, and I'm going to save this field. It will check for duplicates at this time, but it hasn't found any matches for that. What I then come into is my item template, which again is part of my framework policy. Because I'm using a FastAdd framework, you'll see here that actually the fields that I've got for completion are very small. I'm only really being asked for the item type and the barcode and the home branch in there too. However, if I was using a bigger framework, then I would get more detail, as you'll see just in a moment. The other thing I just wanted to show you was the use of the advanced editor. Now, this is used if you prefer a sort of more traditional type of cataloguing entry screen. It's not labelled, so you do need to be a little bit more familiar with Mark, but some people do like cataloguing in this way. So you can see as we come into it, we've got just our leader, our 008 and our 245 here. If I want to add in, let's say, an author field, I just can put in the numerics. So if I just put the 100, and then I can use the same syntax. So this would be for my indicators. And then I need to put my subfield in. Now, if I just make my screen slightly bigger, this is a little delimiter that you need for the subfield, and you might correctly question, well, how do I know what that is? So you've got the use of the keyboard shortcuts here, which tells you, and here we can see that Control D is for inserting your delimiter. So if I just do Control D on my screen, it puts a little symbol in for me, and I can put my subfield in. And at the bottom of the screen here, you can see that it's telling me what field I'm entering and what that subfield name is for. Okay, so if I just do another one, so if I just do 100 again, and if I do my thing and then do Control D, and this time put B in, you can see it's telling me subfield B is for numeration. So if you like to use Advanced Editor, you've got the option to do so from here, and then you can also set up macros which you can run and it will put that information in for you automatically. Okay, moving on. Next screen tells us about item templates. Now, I'm talking just a moment ago, I was talking about templates in the sense of the frameworks. We tend to call them cataloging templates, but the item templates differ from that. The item template that you see where you fill in the item information is part of the framework policy, but these item templates that you can set up actually apply the data values into those fields for you. And you can, again, have the ability to have your own set of templates, or you can share templates across the library. So here's an example here. So let's just see how that works. So here I've got an example of a bibliographic record in the catalogue. I'm logged in at the main library, and on our demo system, we've got the configuration set to show our logged in library holdings in the first tab and then any other holdings in the second tab. So we can see we've got 3 holdings already for this title, one at the main library and one at the green and one at the Hunt library. So imagine I want to add in another item. So I can do that from the new record, new option here. Click on new item. And then you see this area here which says it defaults to do not using template. But if I wanted to apply a template, I've got the option to do so here. So let's have a look at that. By default, this template here that you're seeing is the framework for the 952 field that we're using for the catalogue record. So you can see there's a lot more data in here. And because I'm logged in at the main library, it's defaulting to the main library for its holdings. But in this occasion, I want to use the Hunt library template. So I'm just going to click on that and then click on Apply Template. But before I do that, I just want to highlight there is nothing in collection code. Home library and current library are set to main. There's nothing in shelving. And there is book and item type. Okay, so let's just apply this template. And what then happens is it applies the values that have been set within that template. So it's put the Hunt library in for me. It's put the collection code of fiction in, the shelving location of crime, and a call number as well, because that's what I set up in my item template. So let's just accept that. So I'll add that item into the collection and it adds that for me. Just to show you how you can create your own templates. So if I just come back to do not use a template. Imagine this time I was setting something for my education library. So I'll just put that in. Let's say that was reference material. And let me just put down that this time actually the item type is a map. So I wanted to set that up. So it's in the education library reference and it's a map. And I want to set this as let me put a call number in as well, just for the map, just so we can make it clear. And I want to set this as a template for future use. Down at the bottom, you've got the Save as Template option. You can say Save as a new template. You can give it a name. So I'll just put Education Maps. Then I can say whether or not I'm sharing that template with the other library staff or I'm keeping it to myself. So let's share because that's what we do. And then I can save that. So now, just to show you that it's added to the list as education maps here. And if I click that and apply it, it's put all those in for me. Now, what you might be questioning is why does this appear under my templates when I said it was shared? And that's because I'm logged in. If a colleague was to log in, they would see it under shared templates. It's just keeping it separated out so it shows you what I've created and what's been created by other people. Okay, moving on. All of that I've just been doing is a manual process. Of course, we can import records and we can do that through various means. So we can import records through Z3950, where we configure other library catalogues as targets and we can parallel search across more than one of them at a time. We can view the MARC record and import it into our catalogue, and we can also select the framework that we want to use before doing that and overlay any records using Z3950 as well. So I'll just very quickly come into there. We've got a search form at the left-hand side here, and on the right-hand side, you can see all the configured search targets that we've got. So let's switch on Library of Congress. Let's switch on the National Library of Scotland, and we've got Oxford University switched on by default. Obviously, if you're using this feature, you're probably looking for something specific so that you may have an ISBN to hand or whatever, but let's just do just a very general search at the moment. So I can put in an author and a title, click the search. Then it'll search the catalogues that I've selected. So in this case, those 3 catalogues, and it will return me with hits. And you can see here it's pulled resources from Oxford University, NLS, and if I scroll down a little bit further, you will see Library of Congress appearing as well. From here, I can look at the card catalogue view. I can look at the MARC view of the record as well. And if I'm happy with it, I can then import it into my catalogue and it would put it into that framework, and then I could just adjust it accordingly. Of course, I can also do it from within the catalogue screen as well. So I can do this search from there and select which framework I want to use in advance of doing my search. And then it puts it into the correct framework. The other option is to import from a file. So this is when you would have a file of data from a supplier or from another library, for example, and you want to upload that into your system. And it may be that you want to import all those records in batch, or it might just be that you want them to sit in your reservoir so that you can search for them in the future and import them on a one-by-one basis, or however you want to do it. So I'm just going to choose a file. So I've just got an ebooks file here just to show you. Upload that file. And then it will tell me what do I want to do with it. So I can say what character encoding should be. If I wanted to apply a MARC modification template, which I'll touch on in next month's webinar, I can apply it there. But this is the important. What do we want to do with this file? Do we want to check for these records already existing in the catalogue or not? And if we find a match, what do we want to do? Do we want to replace the existing record? Do we want to add it anyway, or do we want to ignore it? And what to do if no match is found. So you've got your record overlaying, you've got your record matching profile that you set up in here as well. Once you have uploaded your files, you've got the Manage Staged Records area, and this is where you can have a look and see what has already been uploaded onto the server. So if we have a look, we can see this one here has got a staged status against it. So we've uploaded that file, but we've not imported any of that data. And if I click on that link, I can see the details of my matching rule and so on. And I can scroll down and see it's simply just got one file, one record in this file, and it's not found a match. So I can import that into the catalogue if I want to. And if I just show you another one where you can see, so these ones have been imported. So let's have a look at this one. This one's been imported into the catalogue. You can see there it gives you a link to the catalogue record with its biblio number as well. I can undo the import into the catalogue. This is quite useful as well. If you're doing a test and you've maybe imported a batch, you can undo the whole batch if you want. And if I wanted to have a look at the record, I've got the ability to view it and edit it from here as well. And it takes me into that record. Of course, there is an alternative way to import records, and that's using some form of automation. So, for example, if you use the acquisitions module and you create a catalogue record, either a skeleton catalogue record manually, then it is a catalogue record which can be later enhanced, whether you overlay it or just add to it. But if you use EDI for your ordering, then you will get EDI, you'll get the catalogue records back with that EDI transmission. And there are some other forms of automation for doing things like scripted imports from third-party suppliers, for example, BDS and others. And, and just to show you, this is the cataloguing home screen. Well, apart at the top of the screen, you've got the new record and so on, but this is the bulk of the screen here. So this is where you've got access to a lot of the other tools. So there's your staging tools that we were looking at a moment ago. You can export your catalogue data. You can also run inventories from here. If you've got concerns with the catalogue data, you can sort of expose this in the OPAC as well, and people can then let you know if they've got any concerns with the data. You've got a quick link out to your fast cataloguing. You've got your batch editing tools, which we'll talk about next month. You've also got some other automation type tasks like stock rotation and moving items about according to their age. Oops, sorry, it's gone too far. But a lot of our customers use the area on the, as well as the batch editing, they use the area over on the right quite a lot to do things like uploading local cover images. So one thing I didn't mention is that Koha does have content enrichment integration, and if you put an ISBN into your record and you've linked up your Koha to a content enrichment provider, so for example, you get free services from Amazon, then if there is a match on ISBN, it will display that book cover. If there is no match, perhaps it's a rare book or it's something that actually just doesn't have an ISBN, so it's maybe an object or whatever. You have got the ability to upload local cover images in as well, and you can do that through this method. And I'm just going to quickly show you an example of that. So if I just do a quick search of my catalogue for Swansea Hotel. So here is an example of a metadata record for Swansea Hotel. So it's obviously not not a book, not a bibliographic source. But we've got some cover images here. You can see there's two blobs, so I can toggle between them and I see the two different images that have been uploaded. And anything that's been uploaded will then be found within that catalogue record as well. So we've got an images tab here. And when I click on it, you can see the two images that have been uploaded. And you've got the ability to delete the images. And also from within the catalogue record, you can upload an image file from here too. So you've got the two ways of doing exactly the same process. You can come into the catalogue record first and upload a local image, or you can do it from the tools screen where you come in to upload the local cover image and then you attach it to the catalogue record. So there's the two ways to do the same thing. I'm almost out of time, so I will just leave a couple of minutes for questions. But just before I finish up, we will make this webinar available for you. We will send the link to you, and we have just put a couple of references to some related videos at the end here. So I mentioned cataloguing concerns. We do have a little tutorial video that I put together a while ago that takes you through that catalogue concerns process. And last year I ran a webinar on cataloguing and acquisitions, sort of combined overview. So have a look at those if you're interested. And finally, just to mention to you, if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got heaps of content out there now. We do our weekly What's on Our Mind videos, where they are just short tutorial videos of did you know about something, maybe it's a new enhancement that we're highlighting. And we do have our monthly webinars that you've all signed up for today. So we run 2 webinars a month, and currently we are doing an essential series and a what you can do with series. So those are the upcoming webinars. Next week we have professional services, and then 2 in March, sustainability and batch cataloguing. So do come along to those if you can. So that's it. So thank you very much for your time.